Okay, here we go. Dan's gonna start licking
Get the inner
himself.
thigh here.
Dan's gonna start licking himself. All right, we are back with Set to the Office, Season 2, Episode 5, otherwise known as Adventures of Tremendous
buddy.
Fat Ass. And it's been a while since we've recorded, but we're back, and this is Chesney. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, I've posted several pictures and videos of this is our new kitty.
I haven't
It
seen
used to
one.
be Jory's kitty, our daughter, who just moved back home. Thankfully, we're very happy that she moved back home. And she's just gonna be here for I don't know how long it takes for her to get a place, but she's welcome here as long as she wants. But she's gonna have to find a new cat, Dad, because Chesney's staying here.
Oh,
I know, because he's pretty awesome. He's gonna jump up and get in front of the camera. But anyway, so good to see you, Danny.
good to see you. It's
You're
good to
looking
be here.
good, man. You don't look beat up. Usually, you look like you got your ass kicked.
Hey,
Are you not doing your MMA anymore, or how's it going?
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that.
That's what it's called.
It's your dojo.
Yeah, did you?
It's bullying.
But
That's
your
all it is.
What? Have you not seen your sensei lately?
Wow, sensei.
Put him in a body bag. So what's going on? You're still doing that, right? You've just been
Yep,
getting better
yep.
at it, and you're not getting your ass
Just-
kicked, or what?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
Things have been going well. I started with the plant-based. My thing. I don't want to do some extreme where it's like.
Just keep going.
So I'm doing plant-based breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
And then just trying to be conscious of it.
Sure.
And now considering I never ate breakfast before, now I'm having a pretty badass shake.
Okay.
And then I'm eating all plant-based for lunch. Maybe it's just in my head because I've been doing it since January 10th, but I feel,
Feel better?
yeah. And in the documentary I watched, one of the things that they alluded to, well, they didn't allude to it, the Game Changers one, I don't know if you saw it, but they did it.
Do I look like I watch a lot of documentaries about healthy eating?
Well, Joel, you never know. But no, they were comparing like erections.
Oh,
They did a study and the plant-based guys had bigger and more erections. My point is this though, increased blood flow, you heal faster because there's been some times where I would have thought I would have had a pretty good bruise and
Yeah.
I didn't. Maybe that's it. I'm feeling better though.
is that what
for
it is?
sure.
Is it the plant
Kind of like
based?
Wolverine, basically.
Is it the plant based? I don't know if you want to call it a diet because that's a bad word. You're not supposed to say diet. Does it make you lose weight, which makes it look bigger? Is that what I
Hey,
mean?
let's just say Sarah's keeping that fridge full of veggies, bud.
Is she now? Is she?
All right.
All right then.
So what else?
Yeah. Well, what's that plant-based diet do to your system? I'm kind of curious about.
Yeah, it's really helped with a new strategy I've come up with
Okay.
at our school.
Okay.
It's no secret, vaping among our teens is a bad thing and it is an epidemic. I mean, they
Okay.
all do it. It's a headache.
Now, I heard that vaping was a healthy alternative to smoking.
Wow. Oh, I'm not even going to go there. But,
Okay.
it is what it is. Smoking in the bathroom isn't anything new.
Yeah, Motley Crue, they were right in 1986.
Right.
Right.
All I said in a meeting was, hey, when you go in there and it's a big party and you're and some kid from the traditional or some other teacher walks in there, you make the harbor look pretty bad. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Right.
All right. And if any of us catch you, you're in trouble. You're going to face the consequences. That's how I feed my family. That's my job. You did this,
Right.
not me.
Right.
Anyway, I walked in the bathroom. I think it was that day. And I could tell. And just, their look. And it's not like they're lined up for the urinal or whatever. And I'm just like, well, what have we here? But I played it off, dude. I was like, what did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Wait.
Don't buy anything.
I need a 30 because did you just tell me the story a few weeks ago? We didn't talk about it on the podcast about the circle jerk.
What?
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
That was
telling
one of
that
the funniest things I've ever heard. I wish I knew.
I don't think I can tell that
Why not?
because it's. I don't know. I probably shouldn't tell this, but anyway, I'm like,
All I gotta
What
say,
did I tell
whether-
you?
Whether you tell the story or not, it was one. It makes me immediately want to meet the kid that said it because he sounds awesome. But anyway, okay.
no,
I don't think he did on. I think he
Can I
told
tell
it before,
this
but
one?
anyway, go ahead. So the vaping has been an epidemic, and so how's
Yes,
that? Okay,
and
so
and
what's
I
your
just-
strategy then to stop that?
Well, I'm getting to it.
Okay,
I mean, they were like, they don't like to make me mad,
no,
and I don't like to be mad.
yeah,
But it's clear that when I'm mad, it's their fault.
you'll
And
tap
it's-
their asses right
and
out.
it's because of my love
Sure,
for
right,
them.
right.
They brought this on.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for caring about you.
Yeah.
I'll be nice the next time.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
anyway, I'm in business mode, and I'm like, what did I tell you? Bathrooms are not for social times. And I felt that plant-based
No, the Cadillac is. It was a
Ooh.
gift. It was a wedding gift.
morning shake brewing up. I go, bathrooms are for, and I just go, oh, yeah. It's weird. They don't smell, but I am definitely
It
gassed.
sounds pretty good.
But you would have thought. They're like, oh, I'm like, what?
We're in the
What?
bathroom.
I thought we were having a party.
Yeah.
So
Well, what you just did is way more appropriate than what they're doing in there.
I feel like I was modeling.
You were.
That's what you do in the bathroom.
That's right.
Matter
That's
of
right.
fact, I'm thinking about starting a little campaign.
Really?
Save your farts for the bathroom.
Yeah.
And,
Put up posters.
just to accentuate that most people do. That's what you're taught.
Right,
You go to
right,
the bathroom for
right.
your toots.
Is that the? Is it? I've actually had experiences where guys will look at you in the bathroom like you're a jerk if you rip one off in there, and I'm like, dude, this is where you do that.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
I know.
I mean, and that's kind of a natural thing. You're in the urinal. You're
Well-
letting it.
I guess if more people really understood that, maybe they wouldn't want to hang out in there.
Right.
Because that's an issue right now.
Right.
We had to, we now put these door stops on the doors. So the
I've heard
bathroom
this.
doors have to be open.
I got the parental email about that.
Yeah, I don't know why they even have doors on them. We're the only building that does, but whatever. Of course, like day one of my students, I don't think I can say this stuff. I heard a student walk by and just kicked it and broke the thing off.
Just protest.
Yep, just oops. But anyway,
So what? Okay, if you're kind of looping it back to your MMA stuff, if if your new program, your new reteaching the vaping program doesn't work, can you take him down? Can you would you do that?
no,
Have you
I
ever?
don't-
Have you ever?
I don't think I do.
Have you ever done that to a student?
No, no. But I've heard
I've heard stories.
I've heard of something like that
Really?
happening.
What have you? What did you hear?
What I heard was, the students knew through the grapevine that this guy had skills. And
Okay, like the MMA type skills, right?
I think he was jujitsu. I don't think he called it MMA.
Jiu-jitsu.
That's
Okay, right, okay.
all right. But anyway, so one of his students was walking at the end of the day, and no one else was around. It was just him. And he was walking through, and he intentionally, was like, walking tough.
Postured.
And I go, "You think you're tough?" And I said, "Come in here." And
Wait a minute.
the guy
the
did.
teacher
The
said
guy
that.
did,
Right.
yes. And in the circle, he walked over and just slipped his shoes off, and he said, "Here, hop in my full guard, and just see how long you can go before you tap." And he's like, and I'm like, he goes, "Ready, set, go." Boop. Wrist control, pushes it in, whoosh, right over the neck. Oops. Lock it up, hook the leg, and he just got up
So you're the student just tapped out that fast.
instantly, put his shoes on, and left the room. And the
Was-
guy, He was like, "Damn, well, damn."
Oh, so he thought it was cool though, because he wouldn't. I mean,
No, but
Yeah.
you know, we have
Because that teacher
he
probably-
had a really good relationship with that
Oh, cool.
family.
Okay.
Not just the boys. So.
yeah. What kind of move was that? Do you think?
Triangle
Or-
choke.
Okay, I've heard of that, and I don't watch. What other? Have you learned anything recently? That's
Monday
interesting?
night I went out. Okay.
You went out. Like, where'd you go? Like,
Like
to
a
the brew
sleep-
house, or?
unconscious.
Oh,
at the
you
gym.
went out.
Yes.
Okay.
And here's what happened. So for a while now, the main instructor, I've noticed that
Who's
they
a
don't-
Lincoln guy, by the way? Rail splitters, go rails.
Yep.
Okay.
Big Ed.
Yeah,
All
those
right?
Southsiders, they're badasses. You got to watch them.
He is a badass. He's
Yeah, I
a
bet
black
he is.
belt. He
Yeah.
is a badass.
Yeah,
And
okay.
not only is he a badass, he's a large man.
I know him. He is a big guy.
Okay, so he was showing a choke, and they've been using me as their like the guy to show it on.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you would always use the next level down. You know, like the next highest guy in there.
Right. Okay.
And I noticed that they were using me, and I wasn't the next highest. So I
Oh, there was
thinking-
somebody. Oh,
I
okay.
was thinking, yeah, that's right, bitches. But as it turns out, I think they just like using me because I'm like,
Pliable.
I kind of know the dance though. Like I kind of go with like
Yeah, right.
help them
Right,
instruct it right. But I don't know. Anyway, he was showing the Von Flue choke, which is a wrestler choke. It's really tight,
'Kay.
and you tighten it as you get up on your toes and
Okay.
get your butt up in the air, so that all of your force drives right into that carotid. And he was trying to do it loose. He was
Okay.
really loose so that he could talk. And then he got really loose so he could show them the range of motion on the
Okay.
finish. But
and this move, this Jean-Claude Van Damme choke, this
Von Flue.
what? Oh, okay. Is this like a new move or new to
No,
you?
I could show it to you real quick if you want. Anyway, I felt the tinglies coming up. And I got up on my elbow because I was like, maybe if I sit up, I'm not going to go out. And all of a sudden, I'm like,
Night.
well, my eyes were open and Ed was still talking. And so I went, Ed, I just went out. But then I realized I was just doing this. And then there was someone else I was looking at. It was one of the people he's talking to. And I went, whoa, dude, I just went out. But I realized all I did was,
So you were like,
was
your eyes were
right-
still open, but you were
yes.
out.
And I was coming in, like, it was so weird.
How much brain damage do you think that caused?
None whatsoever. Probably improves, you know.
Think so?
Yeah, think about it.
Okay.
When you build your muscles, you break them down. You let them know
Yeah.
what's up. Oh,
Yeah.
we better build stronger.
And that goes for blood to the
Science.
brain.
Science.
It's science, bitch. You just reminded me, actually, you know, how he pulls you aside because you're just better to do demonstrations with. That reminded me when I was in high school, our football coach, the line coach, he played in the Rose Bowl for the University of Iowa back in the day. And
I
so
don't like the way you're making this thing kind of wag in front of me. You know?
I'm doing that?
Yeah, it's kind of wagging at
tighten
me.
that thing up, Danny.
Awkward.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm sure
Go
you're
ahead.
used to it.
Try
But
to
anyway,
move less.
he had made reference several times. You know, this was in the 50s when Iowa played, and he was coaching us in the 80s. So he was in his 50s at the time. And he had made reference to a leg whip, which is an illegal move in football that linemen used to do, but you definitely can't do it now.
Right.
And he had said it a few times, and so we were begging him, and I was a senior. And I was like, Coach, show us the leg whip. You've talked about it. And he's like, I can't do it. And he never remembered my name, even though he coached me for 4 years of football and 4 years of track. He would always, because I probably had some head trauma, but you know, he
Yeah.
coached thousands of kids. So he'd be like, Ted, Johnny, he would do that. And so he's like, I can't do it. I can't. I'm like, we begged him. So he's like, all right, I'll show you guys, but you know, this I'm not supposed to, and you cannot do this in a game. all right, I need somebody to come up here. And so,
Yeah, I've been that guy.
yeah,
I will admit that.
we had that guy. We had that guy. And everybody listening that played football with me knows who that guy is. Good guy, but he was always first in line because he wanted to make sure that all the coaches knew that he was a go-getter.
Right.
So he jumped up there, I'm ready. And so they got in a stance, you know, and the kid that's my age was in a uniform and everything. And old coach was just in his bike coaching shorts, those skin tight shorts that all coaches wore in the 80s. And told us to say go. We said hike, and they came off the ball, and coach dropped down to all fours and whipped his heel back and hit this kid in the knee. And the kid couldn't practice the rest of the day. I don't know that he practiced the next day. And coming off the field, he's like, I don't think I should have done that one. I may not. If I'm not here tomorrow, that's because I ain't got a job or something
Okay,
like
let's
that.
just go back in time to when he couldn't remember any names. Red flag number 1.
Right. But then we, of course, after that, we're all of a sudden we're like, let's do a leg whip in the game.
Yep. Exactly.
Beck, you can't do a leg whip in football. You can't do it. They will flag. They'll kick you out of the game. But back in the old days, they did that. Yeah. Don't listen to Dan. He'll steer you wrong, bro.
Dude.
So.
It's all in the presentation.
Right.
Okay.
Right. All right. So you talked a little bit about what's going on in school right now. Read some pretty disturbing news about the alternative school in Des Moines, Scavo.
Yes.
I was pleased to read that it sounds like it's going to survive, but with some changes.
Yeah.
And for people that are listening, Scavo Alternative's been around for 25 years. I don't even know. It the largest alternative school in the state, but numbers have been dwindling for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And I talked about that a little bit on my Facebook page. And there was a threat that they were going to close it down, which is what happens when money is tight. It's the fringe kids that get shit on, and that's what happens.
Well, there's more to it than that. It's
Okay.
not just the fringe. It's the money that is being spent on them is more than the other students. It's
Right.
this is what I'm talking about with my students right now, looking at these things from both people's lens who
Right.
think they're right.
Right.
How would they support their claim?
Right.
So it's it's not apples and apples.
No. Right. Right.
But
it does cost more to educate
what
in alternative education.
that's the easy part to explain. The hard part to explain is what you're getting for your investment.
right.
That's where do you put
And that's what
how
I
do
talked
you-
about. I don't know if you saw that, but this is the same discussion that we had back in 2011 when the Harbor Building in Altoona closed and we're moving into the high school. And we stuck our necks out there for a futile, argument about why we shouldn't close down because what I learned from that situation, the votes were already in. The people already knew what they're going to do, and there wasn't a goddamn thing we could have said that would have changed it. So, but I'm not bitter about it anymore. But anyway, what people need to understand about alternative education is that it does cost more to educate in an alternative setting because you got smaller class sizes and that kind of thing. However, students who don't graduate from high school, the data is very clear.
Yeah.
They often are imprisoned more often at a much higher rate than a student who graduates. They don't get jobs they can pay the bills, and that kind of leads them into doing things that they shouldn't do. And then I can tell you what, jail is a lot more expensive than educating alternative ed
You
kids.
just came to that path what I was talking about earlier, okay?
Okay.
One of the only, if not the only thing that right now that has bipartisan support. Because here's the thing. Everything you're saying about the importance, or we're going to say about the importance of alternative ed, and maybe we should do that first, but people who listen to it are going to agree, But I don't know if that equates to how they vote. I don't know.
I don't know
It's
either.
gotten so weird with politics, but we need to look at, I would think, the things that really matter to us. But anyway, the bipartisan support there. So if you're ready for criminal justice reform,
Right.
okay, our prisons are bursting.
Sure.
All right. and you're ready to fix that, where do you go? You go to education.
That's
And
one of the places you go.
that's what part of the population do you want to really focus on? Who's the most likely to end up in prison?
Right.
The alternative ed, the at risk. Let's put
Right.
some money into that.
Right.
Let's build
Right.
that.
Right. Put the money up front, front load the money so that on the back end you're not paying as much. But
Yeah.
you know, I think that does make sense to most people. But everybody has their own agenda. And as we saw during the 2011, money crisis at our district, and you don't have to say anything because you still work there, but I'll say it all. There were people that genuinely cared, but they also cared about other things, and they had to make tough decisions. And I can definitely say there was only one person that didn't give a shit about alternative education that had a vote, and I know that for sure because he told me.
Yeah.
But everybody else, they cared, but they had to make tough decisions, and I get it. But
That whole thing with looking at it through other people's lens, how would they, why do they feel like they're right?
right.
And it's,
Well,
why don't those kids, why do they deserve more money? That's taken away. Why don't
Right.
they just, and one of the, not to go off on a tangent, but a good way to explain it, and I saw it at a conference and we're talking about on the board, if you had two tomato plants, right? And one's doing really well and the other one's not doing great. You wouldn't go like, shit, you had the same opportunities,
Yeah.
same sunlight,
F you, tomato
same
plant.
water. What's
Yeah.
your problem? Grow some fucking tomatoes.
Right.
No, you
Well,
would
this one's
figure
doing a
out
lot
what,
better, so I'm going to give this
what's
extra
this one
water
need?
and
You know what I'm
extra
saying?
sunshine to make it bloom even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just because they see that child through the world that they grew up in.
Right.
Right. And I don't know. It's all about empathy.
It
You know,
is.
that's
It's about
the
empathy. It is.
solution.
I agree. That was a hard time.
Yeah.
That was a hard
sucked.
time. And that's what leads people like me and like you to work with that population of kids, because we see that tomato plant that's struggling, it could thrive if you give it the proper resources.
Yeah.
And that's why you're on the Iowa Alternative Education Board. That's why I was on that board, and that's what that board does, is advocate for these opportunities. So I'm glad
I've never gone and spoken at a board meeting. I did at that one, and looking back on it, I'm glad I did. Because I was advocating for alternative ed,
Right.
one way or the other. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you want to think about when you're making decisions.
Right.
Long term.
right.
But anyway.
Well,
so-
the thing, when I read that, it made me sad because, and I'm glad Scavo is going to survive, it sounds like, although there's going to be some changes that is probably going to end up hurting the school, the program, but at least it's going to survive, it sounds like. But, the problem, we need, and this is why I was on the Iowa board, and this is why I was on the national board, because we need more opportunities, not fewer. And the tendency is, let's continue to push these fringe populations into the big box school, and it's not designed
that
for everybody.
goes back to how you can't measure that stuff. What price tag is there for a separate location
Right.
where they have a whole that's the place.
Right.
You're not back where
Right.
you were anymore. So how assuming a new identity, start a real feeling of start
Right.
over.
Right.
Stuff like that, it's really hard to put a price tag, especially if it's someone who has a hard time seeing it through that lens.
Right.
Knowing that this is a kid who's been going home to an empty refrigerator, empty apartment his whole life.
Yeah, and conversely, if you look at those students as just slackers and losers, like I was told by somebody in a position of authority back in 2011, then you're not going to be empathetic and you're not going to see the other side. And that was, that's difficult to fight against that perception. You're not going to win that battle. When somebody already thinks that those kids aren't worth saving, that they deserve to be in the situation that they're in, and some have made decisions to put themselves in that position, but it's like that thing that you've seen on Facebook a million times where they do an example of, okay, all these kids are lining up to race. Okay, now you're letting this kid start 20 feet ahead. And,
Yeah.
it's like that. A lot of our students, they have no advantages and they're starting already behind. And if you look at that as their fault, then you're not going to be empathetic.
Yeah. There's that lens of whiners, complainers,
Whiners and
babies.
Yeah, and this is America, damn it.
Hello?
Why don't they pull themselves up by their bootstraps
I
just
did.
like I did?
I
know.
did.
Jesus, I hate that. You want to get me started? Yeah. Let me, tell me, have somebody sitting here telling me, yeah, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I did it all on my own. Yeah, you really did, didn't you?
Dude, it brings out some pretty weird behavior in me. You want to know? It was soon after Trump had been elected, and I was down on the farm hunting with my buddy, and we pulled into Casey's, and there was this truck there with all the Trump and everything, and a bunch of typical guys standing around the back of the truck. There's a deer back there, and I saw one of them as one of my cousins, which I have. Big family, but I said, let's go over there and talk to these guys. And he's my buddy. I don't want to say his name, my buddy, because whatever, but he's like, no. I go, come on, I just want to see this deer. And I just felt ornery, man. And I went over there and I'm like, hey, I didn't even act like Stevie was there. And I'm like, hey guys, and he's like, yeah, public ground. It's not like, for me, I don't like taking a buck. I prefer to do it after they're mature, after they've passed their peak. That's the way it's supposed to be with
When
nature.
their nuts drop.
You got to fight to, you know.
Right.
Anyway, so he's like, public ground, not bad, not bad. And I'm like, he goes, you guys seen anything good? And I go, yeah, actually, now that you mention it. My partner and we were sitting in my 2-man together, and right when I said partner, I saw Brian go like this. And I go, and out walked, if I'm lying, I'm dying, Boone and Crockett, 220, just blah, 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 perfect broadside. It's my partner's turn to take the shot. I looked over, he was drawn back, but I was waiting for him to shoot, and he was just paused. And that's when I saw a tear coming down out of his eye. And I reached over and I put my hand on his release, and that's when we knew, guys, we're in love. And my buddy just goes like this, throws his hands up, and I'm like, and all this hunting and killing, it's really just rechanneled homosexuality, don't you think? Just to F with them, And one of them's like, you ain't right in the head, are you? And I'm like, probably not, but I've never killed a deer that small. Hey, what's up, Stevie? Anyway.
I'm really surprised to hear that you would do this.
I know, it's not like me.
It's not like you to take a stand like that and make shit out of somebody to make a point.
I don't know. There was something going on that kind of had me fired up, but.
So that reminds me, one of our very dedicated, loyal listeners wants to know if you've hunted coyote.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you meant ever or lately, but I know
not
you have.
yet this year. I'm
Okay.
due. I need to do something this weekend. I have just been
Stir crazy.
fixing broken stuff constantly. So I'm hoping to maybe get either an ice fishing in or a coyote hunt in. So
And you can hunt coyote. You say coyote.
well, I don't even know how to say it because
Well, I think it's coyote because Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
I say coyote. Yeah. I
But
just know
Wile
however
E-
I said it.
It's
you
his
said it
name,
was
and he
weird.
should know how to pronounce it. Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
Yeah. Well,
He
you're not
likes the
very
way that
good with
sounds,
those
by the way.
explosives.
Yeah. So anyway, so maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
And you could
so-
do that with impunity. I
Yep,
mean,
year round.
okay.
You can't do it with a spotlight at night in Iowa, which I think is kind of dumb. And why would they sell those spotlights at Bass Pro? You know what I mean?
For $39.95 if you 10% off with a coupon if you can't. Right.
Yeah. The
Okay.
last coyote we killed, only had 3 legs. It was weird.
And a kickstand.
It's 3 legs. and it wasn't like there wasn't scar tissue like it had a leg. It just had 3 legs.
Wow.
And so I told my buddy anytime he's like, "Yeah, I got a coyote one time." I'm like, 3/4 of one.
I was waiting
I
for a
mean, you really
punchline. I
can't-
thought this was a joke.
No, it's
I was
true.
waiting for a punchline.
It was weird too. Popped
Okay.
upside down, just like bing, and you could just see 3 legs up in the air. It was so close to us, right over the hill.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, where's its
All
leg?
right, you had Beck bring up a picture. Maybe Beck can show
Oh.
it right now. I want to hear this. Is that showing right now for the listeners?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I saw in my woods today.
A
Or
kitty.
no, yesterday.
In your woods, by
Bobcat.
your house.
Yep. Walking right that fence line
Okay.
where the trees meet the horse pasture, just cruising through ninja style, man. But I couldn't see him that well.
Okay.
And I was following him because I couldn't see the tail. I wanted to see if it was that tail because I didn't want to
Is
see.
that a sure? Well, that's where they
Then
got the name.
I didn't want to see a long tail because I knew it was a cat. You know what I mean? Like a mountain lion. They're not.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I don't know what you mean
See
because
that?
I don't know shit about this stuff.
Once I had the scope on him, I could see the tail. Now,
So-
those are cool. They are
That's a good looking animal, and I didn't know anything about bobcats. We looked it up. They can get up to 40 pounds.
yeah, and the one I saw had to be full grown.
They
It-
can
it
get
looked
big enough to make you shit your pants if they were near you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
But they are indigenous to Iowa, unlike mountain lions. So it's healthy. I love it. I have
So the mountain lion reports that we've seen, even in Des Moines city limits, they're not supposed to be here.
no, hell no.
I just looked it up and they don't have established population.
Do you know why the
Our tech Beck says not indigenous. Why are they here?
what?
They were.
No, mountain lions.
They're native
Oh,
to
yeah,
Iowa,
mountain
but
lions,
they
right.
don't have significant populations in Iowa anymore.
Oh,
No, they get here because they go through the rivers, and when
because
you're
taxes are lower here.
yeah, that too.
Well, it's because real estate is cheaper
Yeah. So I just think it's cool to have
and
a
schools are
woods
better in
with
Iowa than in Missouri, so they're gonna come here. All right.
foxes, possum. I mean, you name it. If it lives in Iowa, it's in my woods. I've even had an eagle coming around
Wow.
quite a bit.
Was it a
Quite a
bald
bit.
eagle?
Well, I didn't see any
You
hair.
could tell because it was pulling feathers across his head. No, that's a good looking. I instantly when I see that, I think, what would Merp do if she was in your woods and she? Now I know what Molly might do.
Well, it wouldn't matter.
Your dog is way badder. Would Molly go after that thing?
Yeah.
Would Molly have a chance?
No, because that thing would be up a tree, and they would
Oh,
get
so
bored
but if
with
they
it.
went,
That's why I'm not
that
worried.
thing would put a Jean-Claude Van Damme chokehold on Molly.
I'm not worried about that thing being in my woods because the only way that thing would ever fight them is if it wanted to. And predators
It would
aren't
normally-
looking for a fight because guess what? If you get effed up, how you gonna eat?
Gotcha.
So they're not ever looking for a fight, and there's no way. Like today, after that was yesterday morning. Today, I watched the dogs go running right through. Right, they're going not parallel, perpendicular. So when they go across it, Joy was in the front. She goes right up across it, and Molly's running and just stops and goes and
Oh,
started kind of
sniffs it out.
following it. Yep.
Merp,
And
Merp, what would you do? My dog's right here. I know exactly what she'd do because she is the meekest,
Hey,
mildest dog
if
ever.
that thing's attacking Murph, can you get your hands on it and kill it?
No, I just
You're
get
out
a
for
new
a
dog.
walk?
I just get a new dog.
Oh, bull crap! You'd wreck that thing.
would scratch me to ribbons, bro.
No, maybe yeah. It's gonna
got-
while you're breaking its neck, it's gonna be scratching you and biting you. But
Quinn would take it on.
hell yeah,
Quinn,
Quinn
would
would.
you take it on if it was hurting Merp?
Quinn, you know you would. You'd be stomping that thing,
Yeah,
putting
Quinn,
the
you
boot
can-
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd probably die for Merc.
Yeah. Oh, Quinn would.
look at her.
Oh, Merp,
She
did you hear
understood.
that?
All right.
All right. Anyway, so, all right. Well, what time are we at right now?
35 minutes.
Okay, so you mentioned, you did mention Trump earlier when you talked about the hunters in Southeast Iowa.
Yeah, we did say
And
we
we
were
did
going to
say
talk
we were gonna
politics.
talk about politics,
Sounds
and-
like you kind of already did.
I'm a little gun shy after my critical error last night on Facebook. See, here's what happens,
Bit
Dan.
of a party foul.
A
On
little bit of a
Facebook,
foul
huh?
there. See, what happens is I post something about politics, and it never goes well. And then I swear to God,
kidding.
I'm not going to post anything more on Facebook about politics. And then I forget, like 2 or 3 weeks later, and then I post something else.
Yeah.
So last night I posted that Rush Limbaugh received the Presidential Medal of Freedom during the State of the Union address on Monday night, and I made the mistake, and this is my bad. I don't know. You all right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
No, I thought I.
Are you gonna puke talking
No,
about Trump?
No, when you said that about Limbaugh, I had some
Oh,
kind of
right. Yeah. Okay.
into my mouth.
Well,
I had to
the
swallow
mistake that
that
I
down.
made is that I tried to make a little edgy humor at the end of it by saying, because Limbaugh had recently announced that he has stage 4 cancer, and I kind of did the old Caddyshack, which is nice joke, in Caddyshack, where he says, and I got that going for me, which is nice. I kind of said, mentioned the cancer, and I said, well, which is nice. And that became kind of the focal point of the entire post for a few
Right.
people. And I regretted saying that. And I regretted it mainly because the whole point of what I was trying to say got lost for people because I was callous and crass
Yeah, but
about the cancer.
one of the reasons I love you is that you are a man enough. You can take ownership of that and say
It was,
yeah,
it was
that,
my bad.
oh yeah, like you do things all the time that you kind of it's okay. Everybody just digs in, and the thing about Facebook with that kind of stuff is there's no conversation because communication involves a sender, a message, a receiver, and feedback. It's just more like missiles.
Right. Right.
It's not a conversation.
It's not. No minds
not
are going to
healthy.
be changed, and I need to remember that.
It's kind of fun sometimes.
It can be,
But
it can
for
be,
the most
but
part, especially with real friends,
right?
No.
And that's why Facebook is like the worst place to do it. And I swear I'm not going to do it again, except for 2 or 3 weeks when I forget, and I'll do it again.
Well, right now the expedition we're covering is Vietnam. Yeah, that's our theme, which
Okay.
I'm excited to take the kids out
Yeah.
to the Gold Star Museum. Hopefully, the vet who talked to him last
Sure.
time, who was a POW for 7 years in Hanoi, the Hanoi
Oh
Hilton.
yeah, Hanoi Hilton.
And when they want to know how long their essay's got to be for me, I go, I don't really care because I'm not going to grade them. I'm just going to give them to Larry, the guy that talked to you. So whatever, 7 years in a small
Right,
room
7
with
years
a
of
dirt
suffering
floor
deserves.
and one light bulb is worth to you that long. How about that? No, but they put out some good work.
Right.
Anyway, we're looking at how the country was divided.
Yeah,
With our guiding compass trying to be this
divided
learn-
back in the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Okay,
you
similar
know,
to now.
Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, I don't know. Somebody said it. We must learn from our past or we're condemned to relive it. And, expeditionary learning, making it relevant and comparing that today. And it's been good. It's been good stuff.
Are you
but
properly indoctrinating our students into liberal ideology like you
no,
should?
the way we preface it, everything is you always have to prove both sides as though you are that person. Yeah, okay.
You get it? Do you get
yeah,
it?
yeah.
All right.
No, it's not like that
Yeah, I
at
know.
all.
But
But
people believe that.
I'm sure they do.
You
I
there are
don't know
people
what-
that they believe that the goal of public education is to indoctrinate our students into a liberal ideology.
Well, I can tell you that's some bullshit because I don't work with a bunch of people who have. I mean, it's as divided. Just from what I can tell.
Right.
It's like that in the entire country. There's probably people at work who know I need to watch what I say around this person because we're on different sides.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities
Sure.
between then and now, and I just want to explore that.
Right. Well, it's interesting because
But you always, everybody assumes you have an agenda. Like what? Oh, I don't know. Just wanted
the
to,
reality is most people in public ed anyway, and I feel like I can talk about this with some level of authenticity. and expertise, most people don't let their beliefs be known to their students.
Right.
In all the years I was an administrator, I can count on one hand how many times I had to have a conversation with a teacher because of that.
And it wasn't me.
And it wasn't you. And the conversation was
Make
usually,
that clear.
hey, it doesn't matter what. And trust me, it wasn't just liberal stuff. There was some conservative stuff too. And the conversation is, you know what? You can believe what you want to believe, but when you express that to your classroom, you're automatically alienating half your kids. And somebody's going to go home and they're going to talk with their parents about it, and then they're going to call me, and they're going to be upset. And so, let's just not talk about it in the classroom. And 99%, I know this is going to be hard for people to believe that are the believers of the liberal indoctrination of public education kids. 99% of the time, it is not an issue ever.
Yeah. Because it would be really hard to teach what you're supposed to teach if you were trying to just do it one-sided.
Right.
Right. You got to have it dynamic. 'Cause
Right.
You
Right.
want, as a teacher, to have everybody engaged.
Right.
That's your goal.
Yep.
So anyway,
But anyway, I think now though, so what I posted, I would have posted if I didn't believe strongly that Rush Limbaugh should not be in the same room as a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
yeah.
I mean, when you look at the past recipients and you look at, and I know I suggested to you earlier today that you Google some of Rush Limbaugh's comments over the last 30 years that encouraged people to sexually assault women, because when they say no, they really mean yes.
I did not do that.
Okay,
what you told me to do.
that's why
So
I'm doing
everything
it
you're
now.
telling me now is new.
He was on the ground floor of the Obama birtherism conspiracy, okay, which is racist in nature. He has made dozens of detrimental comments about African Americans, about immigrants. He is a hateful, evil human being, and it has nothing to do with politics. And that's what you need to that's what I was hoping people would understand. Because actually politically, Rush and I are kind of more aligned than not. But it has nothing to do with politics. Rush is an evil son of a bitch.
He sounds like kind of a dick.
He's a dick. And the difference is his voice has power because millions of people listen to him. It's not like my voice or your voice.
Well, it has a lot more power now. I mean, everybody's
Right.
does. Everybody's emboldened. Did you see any, like just recently, there was some kind of school board meeting or town hall meeting, and there was a Hispanic man
Yes, speaking.
emotionally talking about what his son is going through.
Some bullying
heart,
yes.
And you hear this behind him just, well, why didn't you just stay in Mexico then? And then everybody's like, what the hell? And he's like, what? Because what?
Right.
That's okay now.
Now, it's impossible to know for sure. What I would say is that he has become emboldened by our president's
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
by his hate speech toward immigrants. Now, other people would say,
100%.
"Well, that's how do you don't know that? He might have felt that before." But these things are becoming more and more common.
Yeah, come on, man. We
And
got to
that-
be at least
right,
honest with
right.
each other.
So when people wonder what's wrong with society, why are people fighting over politics? The number one reason is the guy in the White House right now. He makes everything us versus them.
yeah.
Us versus them. He is the one that is creating this hostile political atmosphere. And when I have discussions, they rarely, if ever, have to do with Trump's political decision making. Because honestly, Dan, I don't give a shit about tariffs or taxes or all these unemployment. Not enough to get upset about them, because I know that the next president is just
Right.
going to reverse everything. That's what they do.
Right.
But the reason Trump is so upsetting for people is because he's dividing people by overtly hating immigrants, brown people, by emboldening white nationalists.
It's cultivating real fear.
Yes.
And what fear looks like in most people is pretty ugly.
Right.
And that's what it is.
Right.
We have a country full of scared people. And a
Right.
lot of them are scared white men.
Yes.
You know, I'm
That's
sorry.
what it is. Forgotten
You
man.
know, and
Forgotten. But, Quinn and I were discussing this last night, and we had a good discussion. I make fun of Trump a lot, but he's actually pretty smart in a lot of ways. It took him about 30 years, but he finally figured out the population that he can appeal to get elected, because he wasn't always a conservative. He was a liberal years ago. He was pro-choice. He was all these things, and he used to talk shit about Republicans.
here's where we would have to try and get to. Can you try and picture this? Like having some agreement where it's like, okay, listen, I really don't like Trump. I really, really don't like him.
Right.
But I love you, and I know you like Trump, but I still love you.
Right. Right.
Now, if you can't say that back, then you should go fuck yourself. I think.
And
I
then-
mean,
and it does
come
make-
on. If we can't
Right. Right.
have a conversation
Right.
because we have different
And I am
political views.
just as at fault as anybody, if not more so.
Yeah.
But and I would like to believe that my issues with it is grounded in empathy. Okay, empathy toward poor people, toward brown people who are in this country trying to make a life, and I'd like to believe that.
It's the key
I know
to
it
everything.
is. I know it is. It doesn't make me right all the time, but I know it is.
Problem is, empathy is a very high level, I don't know if you call it an emotion, whatever it is an evolved human thing. And what we have going with social media and
Right.
our society is not
Right.
cultivating empathy.
No.
And if
No.
you're ever going to start bringing people together,
Right.
that has to be there.
Well, social media is a ripe environment for these kinds of conflicts, and
And-
then you throw into the pot, the stew, this this incredibly bigoted, misogynistic bully who daily name calls and divides people. It's a recipe for disaster, and I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully in a few months, when he's not in office, and somebody, whether it's whoever it is, whether we can kind of go back to the middle ish again, or if this is the way
Confirmation.
it's going to be.
Confirmation bias is a profoundly powerful thing.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a whole nother podcast, probably.
Right.
How we doing, brother? We
48 minutes.
oh,
It's a long one.
snap.
Anyway, well, to kind of close it out, I'm never going to talk about politics on Facebook again.
Not for at least 3 weeks.
At least 3 weeks. At least 3 weeks.
Hey, buddy, you know what? Again, you owned, what you did wrong.
It was dumb, and I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have said what I said about the cancer. I thought it was a little bit of edgy humor. Am I going to mourn the loss of Rush Limbaugh? No.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. I shouldn't, but my scenario with between Trump and McCain's news,
Right.
I kind of pictured him going, "Good riddance, you piece of," and someone going, "No,
Yeah, right, don't do it."
take."
Well, he would do
That's
it.
it. No more phone for him for the
Right.
rest of the night.
Right.
Like
Well, that
I don't want to get into the what about.
I
because-
know, and that's what I'm careful of. Because I was going to say, in my defense, we celebrate the death of evil people all the time. Now the question is, do you feel Russia's evil? I do. I think he divides people. But whatever. But some of the same people that get upset over that are the ones that when Trump tells a widow that her husband is looking up from hell at her, and they are silent, but they're upset at what I say.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
But
I don't know how you do that.
That right there will never go. No one will ever hear one of those and go, You got a good point, Joel. You're right.
Yeah, I got
What
all
we're
over Joel
doing-
for what he said. I should probably.
Yeah. What we're doing isn't working, is what I'm
I
saying.
know
It's just
it's not
it's
working.
not.
I'm not. No minds will be changed.
All right. So you might as well go fuck yourself.
You as well.
Love you, brother.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I think that was a good one.